Hey guys, welcome to the review show. My name's Austin. Civil War is directed by Alex Garland and is starring Kirsten Dunst. In the dystopian future of America, a team of military-embedded journalists races against time to reach Washington's D.C. before rebel factions descend upon the White House. I'm just going to say this straight out. In the time period that we are living in, this is definitely what I thought this was going to be a very controversial film. After seeing it, it's definitely not because just the one thing to just get out of the way, just to let people know, this movie isn't really about the Civil War. Well, I mean, like there is a war, but it isn't really about the war. So it doesn't really dive into the politics or anything like that. And to be honest, it's probably the safe route is not to dive in because if you say, well, our main characters are Republican or something, they don't really go named by anything. They kind of call one faction like the WF, and next, you have the president's side. So they don't go by those type of terms of Republican or Democrats or whatever. Um, but if you had for example, as like a main character as a Republican, a lot of people are not probably gonna see the eye to eye to these characters. So it's best if they just did not address what side that they were really on or what our characters stood by really. But that kind of just draws a little bit of a less interest if that makes a little bit of sense, because as much interest in I was in the film and how much I actually did like it, I did like this film a lot, but the film has a lot of issues when it comes to its characters. When it comes to like character development, there isn't really anything there. The film does a great job getting you grounded into this world of like a modern day civil war. You actually really do feel like you're there. You do see the tragedy of like this war and how broken this version of America is. And it's really interesting to see that, and they do a really good job putting you in this world. But the characters that you go along with on this journey, you kind of don't get a sense of who we're supposed to be really, are we really supposed to be rooting for these characters to go on this journey, because like all they really want is to get this quote from the president. That's their main goal, which is a fine plot line, and that's I don't really have anything against that plot line. I thought it was fine, and it makes sense for what they were going for. But I just didn't really care about any of the characters as much as I did like the characters at some times. That honestly they made me laugh a couple of times. I liked a lot of the jokes. Maybe I could like somewhat connect to with Carly Spacey character. I think that's you say her name. She played this like somewhat this new press type of character where this new photographer, and she's not really used to being in these situations and seeing people die, and actually kind of see her grow, and it's like this is what war does to people. Like it makes them a completely different person. But besides that, there isn't really like you don't understand the reasoning why they're out there. You don't understand what's motivating them to go out to grab these pictures. Is it for to show how badly war is it for the thrill of it, or is it for the fame of it, just to have their name attached to something because they got this cool picture? Like you don't really get a good understanding of their motivations, and that's kind of where the I kind of fall in between with this film a lot. Even though I did like the actions when it was there, again, this movie isn't focusing on the Civil War, and that's kind of like somewhat misleading when you call a movie Civil War and all the trailers is like showing that this is going to be like a big action adventure type of film taken in a modern day Civil War, when it really isn't that. And the movie tries to make that clear, like this isn't that like this story. Like you have our characters sitting down, it's dark at night, and all they see is gunfire going out, and basically talking to one another. It's like, are we going to go out there and get photos of that? It's like, and they say like that isn't our story, and basically to one another. It's like they're trying to make it clear, like, hey, we're not going to focus on that. Really, we're going to focus on the behind the scenes type of stuff and just focus on these characters that we have in front of us, and not really about the political side and all that, which is fine. If this is what the story that they wanted to tell, that's cool. But you got to get me attached to these characters, and really the film didn't really do that much on that side of getting me attached to the characters. But man, the fucking special effects, the fucking cinematography was really fucking good in this movie. Like honestly, when there's like gunfire going on, it felt real. It felt like you were actually there, and it felt like you were. And I got to see this in IMAX. I saw early screening in IMAX for this film, and like you really felt like like the wave of like a gunfire basically. That's the best way I can describe it. I think they kind of miss on the mark on some points, and a lot of in the marketing for this film is kind of really misleading. And they shouldn't really, this movie shouldn't have been called Civil War, even though there is a civil war going on. That isn't really the main focus of the film, and they honestly really should have called it something else. And but the reason why they did that is to draw in the audiences, and maybe for the controversy of it, I don't know. But I still recommend you guys checking this out, just not right away. I'm gonna give Civil War a C+. It's fine. Um, Again, I did enjoy the action bits, and I enjoyed like the story, what they were trying to go for. They just didn't really give me that much of attachment to most of the characters, even though I did laugh at and like some of them, but you never really could get behind the characters of the reasoning why they wanted to go out there, and even though they do hint at some of the stuff, and so it's a fine film. It's beautifully made, well shot, put well together. Just some misleading stuff and missed opportunities when it comes to getting us behind some of the characters and their decisions that why they do certain things. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like always, I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.